Welcome back to Devlog 4, I believe I'm up to on my Halloween Showcase game. Tentatively, I'm titling it Helio Soldier of Fortune. I wanted to have some kind of idea. I wanted to get across the idea that it was outer space and you were a mercenary. So mercenaries can also be called soldiers of fortune. And the heliosphere is actually, you know what? I pulled up the definition over here. So it is the region of space encompassing the solar system in which the solar wind has a significant influence. So basically, it's our solar system. But that's the idea I wanted to get across is that you're in outer space. Honestly, I don't know that it's the best name because I was thinking about having the game span multiple stars and then each star would be a node. But I suppose I could also have the planets be a node. But that's neither here nor there. I'm not too concerned about the name since it's not something I have to sell or market. But what I did want to show off is I got a decent amount done with the weapons, and I got the human fighter jet imported into Unreal. So a couple of things have changed. I don't remember what I showed before, but so for instance, I did a lot of texture work trying to figure out how normal maps worked. And I did some optimizing and I figured out a little bit more about how to work with emission shaders. Basically, with the spaceship, you'll notice that there's I put like a noise texture on it to make it, visually interesting and just break up the, I don't know, the solidness of it, the flatness of it. So if you compare it to my human fighter jet here, everything just looks very flat because I have no no mixing of noise textures or anything like that. Um, but oops, wrong thing, not human fighter. Okay, so so basically, the point I'm trying to get across is that I need more practice with texture work. So something I figured out on the fighter when I was importing it in the flying saucer fighter was um, noise textures. And then the other thing I figured out how to do finally was make a decent normal map. And so if you zoom right in, you can see that this is all just flat. There's no geometry here making it stick up. But when I move around, you can see the normal map at work there, and it gives the illusion of more geometry than is actually there. And I did the same thing around this shiny area here, a little bit right here as well. And then did it here. Basically all the dark spots, although it's so dark that you can't really tell for this or either of these. So having that be a different color probably would help with the illusion. But I know how to do it now. So that was like the lesson I learned from retexturing this. And then while I was texturing the fighter, I was trying to figure out a better way to use emission shaders. And I sort of screwed up. So what I meant to do was have my emission shader be black and white. And then I was going to multiply it with my albedo, mix it here, and then join it. And so I did do that, but I forgot to make this black and white, and this was nothing but color. So now this one has like no color on it, but my emission shader does. So ultimately, it came out with the same result. So the effect that I was looking for, I will show this, is so I wanted it to I wanted the engines to look, hotter on the outside and then have like kind of a gradient going in. And I really like the way that it turned out. I think it looks great, even though I did sort of mess up the way that it's um, was supposed to be done. Um, but it still looks really good doing it the wrong way. It's just a little backwards. I'm gonna have to redo these textures at some point. Mostly just because like the fighter jet here, it just doesn't look good completely flat shaded. I was hoping to get away with something easier than like drawing a bunch of stuff by hand. And I didn't want it to look exactly like the flying saucer, which the flying saucer is actually like it was really easy to do this effect. Let's look at the material. So yeah, the flying saucer. We have the albedo, which is basically just shades of gray. And then I set up the normal map, which you can see here. And then I have the texture pack here that I didn't end up using the red channel because it was sort of like redundant. But what I did end up doing was I have just a pure noise built into the blue channel, and I'm mixing that with the green, which is the roughness. It contains the metallic, but what I found was it actually looks better that if I just take the roughness and do a 1 minus and stick that into metallic, and then the un-1 minus, just the normal, into roughness, it gave a really nice effect where, the shiny parts were extra shiny and metallic, but then the rough parts were less metallic looking and, less shiny, obviously. And so it came out with this kind of neat, like, I don't know, I think it looks sufficiently alien. You can see like each individual pixel when you move in. I don't know, I really, really like the effect. But otherwise, the actual texture itself that it's applied to, um, now let's see, human fighter. Want the saucer. Yeah, as you can see, it's just flat, like shades of gray. That's it. Um, so I really like the way that it came out. Um, I do, like I said, I need to like finalize my workflow for getting like emission shaders and normal maps and everything. Basically, the way that I did the emission shaders for the human fighter, I need to go back and redo it for the flying saucer. And then for the human fighter, I need to figure out how I want to make the coloring for this. So this, as you can see, I didn't actually texture pack it. That's just because I knew I was going to probably end up redoing it. I didn't want them both to just be like a metallic color. I wanted the humans and the UFOs to look different. Um, but I'm not particularly artistic. The other thing I wanted to do was essentially separate out like the highlight colors. So maybe for the flying saucer, it'll be like these dark colors here, and probably the same thing for the fighter. Like, it's a little darker here, a little darker on the engines. Um, so either the highlight or the low lights, I want to make adjustable. And that'll just be, through the same kind of thing here, like through a multiply node, I'll basically have like a grayscale color, and then I'll multiply it by a color sample, and then I'll be able to like change it on the fly and adjust it. Um, and then I won't have to like iterate it as much. I can just change it right in the engine. So yeah, a couple different things that I want to figure out. But other than that, the last thing I got done was I finished the last couple weapons. So this is going to be a homing missile. That's why it has all these extra rockets on it, because it's going to be able to turn and everything. Let's take a look at that beautiful, beautiful texture work. Yeah, I really like the way that the emissive shaders worked out. I think I did everything correctly for these, for the weapons. And those are on their own material. So yeah, here I have the weapons albedo here. And then if you look at, where is it? And right here, and then I believe, yeah, B is emissive. So yes, so I got everything figured out for the weapon shader. So what I'm doing in the weapons material, go to assets, materials, weapons. So yeah, this is exactly how I want it. I just want to have 2, maybe 3 textures, probably 1 for normal mapping, although I may not do that for the weapons since they're so small. But yeah, so I just have the albedo here and then the texture pack for the metallic and the roughness. Those I did have separate out because I did like some special stuff with that. But then for the emissive node, I'm just multiplying that blue channel, which is nothing but black and white data, by the albedo, which gives us this like, neat effect here. Yeah, so I really like the way that that turned out, and I would like to apply some like gradients to the glowing uh, windshield there, and then give the same treatment to these ion drives as well. I didn't actually put a rocket on the end of this because after a while I realized, you know what, this is just going to have like, it's going to be covered up by a Niagara particle system. So yeah, it's not really, that's kind of wasted detail here, but I don't know, like I said, this is a learning experience. Mostly just putting together my development pipeline. So then the other thing is, so if you zoom in real close, you can see, oh man, I need to right click. Yeah, there we go. That's how you slow it. Hold down the right button and then the scroll wheel to slow down the speed. So you can see like this part is shiny, and even though this is all one thing, like I turned up the roughness here. So I'm starting to get the hang of it. Getting some things shiny and metallic, other things rough. But I like the way that it all turned out. I think, especially from a distance, even with just flat shading without any visual mixing of noise or anything like that, I think the weapons look pretty good. I like the way that they turned out. And I really like the way this guy turned out here, although I still, like I said, I want to work on the emission nodes. And then this guy needs some texture work. But that's about it. This is my last asset video, I guess. I'm going to be making more off assets, obviously, but probably going to be done with the time lapses for a while unless people really want to see them. Now it's going to be all about putting together a prototype with the stuff that I have here while simultaneously making assets for frigates, additional fighters, and capital ships once it's all said and done. So the next episode is going to be all about code, and I'm going to see if I can get the basics of a twin stick shooter implemented, and I'll walk through that in the next devlog. So I hope you enjoyed this, and I will see you in the next one.